Coach Teeden, we are back. What's up, my man?
I'm excited, man. We're back. We're doing it again. We have another NAI coach, which love that because that's where I'm living right now. So this should be fun. I'm excited to get into it tonight.
Yeah, it's getting close to season time, so we're pretty pumped all around. Everybody's making those last preparations and whatnot, and I'm gonna try it. Like I said earlier, Coach. This is the How Are You Wired podcast. We usually don't do this, but make sure you rate, review, and subscribe to our show. It really would go a long way if folks got on there and told us how we were doing and gave us some feedback. So tonight we have Coach Andrew Wingreen from New College in Florida. We're really excited to have him. He's been coaching for a lot of years as a head coach, as an assistant at the college level. Seems like a really young guy to be doing it for so long, and it's pretty exciting. And he just released a book, which we'll dive into a little bit as we move forward. But Coach, welcome. How are you?
Yeah, thanks. Doing well. Appreciate you guys having me on. And yeah, looking forward to our conversation tonight.
Yeah, I'm sure Billy's going to get in the nuts and bolts of the NAIA world, and you're going to have to tell him all your little secrets.
Well, Blackburn
I
already
need
said.
all the secrets for Florida College. We've had a tough time beating those guys, so I'm hoping we can find a way this year, but they're always tough.
Yeah, Blackburn already said I need a full scouting report on his desk tomorrow morning, so we'll get after it today.
For sure.
Awesome. So, Coach, how are you wired?
Yeah, I mean, I think I love that phrase and just that question. Listening to a lot of the coaches you guys have on here, obviously we all love the game and love being a part of basketball at any level. I think just being around coaches, around kids, around athletes who are trying to be better is amazing. But I know for me, just being able to impact people on a greater level and really use basketball as a tool, as a platform to make an impact, to grow an influence. And, for me, I always want to share my faith in Jesus. And I think what better way to do that than through the game of basketball? So I think that's kind of what drives me. That's what, if I say, how am I wired? It's to glorify God through the game of basketball and impact leaders for the future.
I love that answer. Coach, who were some of your biggest influences? And Joe and I, when we did this originally, we thought like, hey, who are the guys that you bounce ideas off? Who are those guys as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think, when I first started wanting to get into coaching when I was, back in high school, it was John Wooden. So, I mean, like that was kind of my person who really sparked the love for the game, the love for coaching, that I would, try and mimic the philosophy and, really had a great impact on my life. And so I would say that was like the first person, the first coach. And then I think someone for me, every coach I've worked for has a place in that, but recently Donnie Jones up at Stetson has just been a great mentor of mine. And, starting a program, building it from scratch, he's been someone who I've been able to bounce a lot of ideas off of, ask questions. And, a lot of times we think, hey, these guys coach in Division I basketball who have been there, done that, they're, kind of standoffish or they don't want to help. But Donnie is just one of the best people in the world and always willing to help. He's been a great mentor of mine to just learn not only how to coach basketball, but how to lead people.
Coach, pretty admirable that you don't hear much about a program being started from scratch. You've heard or you hear about transitioning levels, but starting from scratch, that's a whole new ball game, I imagine. And I don't know where you came in on the process of different things. Can you get into what all went into that and how, just some of the ups and downs?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely crazy. I know when I was kind of looking and I saw this posting for New College of Florida looking, starting an athletics program. And honestly, the first thing that crossed my mind was, where the heck is New College of Florida? I've never heard of this school before. I've been coaching a long time. I was in the state of Florida for a long time, and never once did I hear New College of Florida. So it kind of piqued my interest, but I thought maybe it was one of those fake schools or something that was going up where we were just, trying to act like we were doing something. But reached out to the HR department. They put me in touch with the athletic director and had, a great connection, was able to get connected with him early on, and it moved pretty fast. And so, yeah, starting the program, it was literally from scratch. I mean, no mascot. Didn't even know what our mascot was. We didn't have any colors, obviously no history, no facilities on campus, no team, no schedule. And we announced this in April, and I got hired. My first day was May 1st. And so, that's kind of late to the game, getting everything going. But it was definitely a whirlwind, just trying to, from the beginning, make sure we had the right people in place. We, tried building the foundation the right way. I think we had some opportunities to get some talent, but that late in the game wasn't sure if it was the right fit for our culture. And so we made it, kind of that decision to put culture first and put people first. And I think, while we won 7 games our first year, this was before we joined the NAI, but our first year won 7 games, and it was tough. It was hard, but I think we did it the right way, and we laid a solid foundation to build on. And so, yeah, it was a process. There was lots of ins and outs, a lot of learning. Cause I think you go into an established program and there's different concerns. There's different things you have to worry about. But I mean, we were not only building a basketball program from scratch, but an athletic department from scratch. So trying to wear many hats, just trying to help. I'm planning practice for the day, and then I'm out helping pull a generator out on my truck to get power to a scoreboard for a soccer game, and just little things like that, right? It was a whirlwind, but it's been a fun thing to see it build and grow.
Did you get a say in the mascot? Did you have a vote or anything?
I didn't. They actually had some students. They had a lot of names that were proposed, and it was kind of a cool story because it was a student at New College. And I don't know if you guys have ever been on campus, but I would encourage anybody who's listening to come check out campus. It's beautiful, right on the water, and we have a lot of these big banyan trees. And so there's a really big one right in the middle of campus, and a lot of students hang out there. And so this girl student, she was just drawing one day, and she was drawing a picture of the banyan, and she proposed it as the new school mascot, the Mighty Banyans, and that's kind of what stuck. And I wasn't too sure about it at first. It was very unique, and I didn't know, but it's been cool to see. Everybody loves the old banyan tree, so it's been fun to talk about it and share it with people.
That's great. That's awesome. So, Coach, you kind of mentioned that first year you had some chances to take some risk on some guys, but you decided, hey, let's build the culture the right way. Can you talk about that culture for you? Can you talk about, you've been at many of the different levels, like how have you developed your leadership style? What does that culture look like for you guys?
Yeah, I think just the people I've been around have always put people first. And I've seen programs who maybe put talent first, and it can give you a quick fix and maybe give you 1 or 2 good years, but it's hard to sustain that. And all the cultures I've seen or been around that really sustain it, it's just about good people and doing things the right way. And so we kind of came in with this idea of love, serve, and compete, and really just making sure that, obviously these things can translate on the court as well, but how do we love people? How do we serve people on campus? It can be little things, saying please, thank you, holding a door, but it can also just be, how do we do our jobs at a high level? And so loving and serving people is huge. Our teammates, our brothers, the people around us, and then, competing at a high level. And we wanted to kind of redefine what compete looked like. It wasn't just go at each other and, try and beat everybody. It was, how do we compete for each other? How do we every single day in practice level each other up? Not just call each other out, but call each other up to something greater. And so this idea of competition is it's kind of a standard. It's a way of life. And it's not just trying to beat somebody or impose your will, but really making every single person around us better. So that was kind of the foundational core values, love, serve, compete, that we tried to go into it with and sustain at this moment in time too.
So are you still following those guidelines as you recruit players?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think while we weren't talented as talented as we wanted to be, we've gotten better every single year. And, being good, you have to be talented. You have to be good to play at this level. I mean, there's no way around it. Like, we can't just go out and just get good kids, or else I won't have a job very long. So obviously talent's a piece of it. But I do think that we have to be really intentional as coaches to make sure that talent fits what we're trying to do. And at New College especially, it's an honors college, one of the best academic schools in the country. We have very strict guidelines as far as test scores and GPAs. And so, from an academic side of things, kids have to be on top of their game. I mean, we're trying to get kids who are, 3.8 or higher, 1,300 SATs. Like, they have to perform well in the classroom. And then on top of that, just making sure I don't want kids who are going to be out, partying, just doing things, not having good attitudes in their classroom. And I know these are all things that we all talk about as coaches, but sometimes, we make deals with ourselves and say, well, I'll fix that, or we can work on that, or no, it's got to be something that you have to be the right person that fits our program. And, when I talk to these kids and their parents, I also make it very clear, like, I want this to be a good fit for you. And so I'm very transparent. This is who we are. This is what we're about. Here's the expectations and here's the standards. And if you want to be a part of that, come be a part of it. Like, we want you here. But if that's not for you, like, man, we don't want you here either. Like, we want this to be a good fit for you, and we don't want you to be uncomfortable or be in a situation that doesn't fit. So I think that transparency is a key in trying to get those right kids.
I must say though, I'll be transparent. I don't know if he's still on your team, but you've had a guy, I think he's been on your team for 2 years. I don't know how good of a player he is. I don't even think he's been in any of your stats or anything like that. But we've communicated a little bit about the showcase that I run, and Billy will be there, and he's there every year. I'm going to probably say it wrong, but Jonathan Oladude,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know who he was when he came to the showcase that first year that we had it. I think it was 4 years ago. But he was the kid picking up trash afterwards with us. After all the kids had left, they got their free shirt. They got to play in front of college coaches. That young man's walking around. How can I help, coach? How can I pick up trash? And again, not saying that he's one of your best players or even, still with your program. I'm not for certain, but what a good dude. He fits exactly what you just said when you talk about players that you're looking to select.
Yeah, 100%. He is still a part of our program. John is a special kid. I mean, just lights up the room. We talk about energy elevates, and he is the elevator of our team. He's the guy that brings the juice and just always has a smile on his face. And so, yeah, he is the type of kid we want here. He's involved in campus, in the community. Even my daughter she started going to youth group a couple weeks ago, and John goes to our church, and he's now helping with the youth group at church. And like, he just loves people, and he loves to serve, loves to help. And he is a good talent. Like you said, he's not the kid who jumps off the stat page. He's not going to score a lot of points, but he's going to do all the dirty work. He's going to work hard every possession. He's going to defend his butt off. He's going to always be coachable. And so, yes, I mean, that is the example of the type of kid that we want at New College, the type of kid that flourishes at New College. And, he redshirted last year as a freshman. He's going to, play this year. And so we're excited to see how that all translates onto the court really in his first year of college basketball.
I love it. Coach, how involved is your staff in the recruiting process? I know you guys are out, we're all out in the same places. You guys are divide and conquer as well. How does that work out as a staff for y'all?
Yeah, they're great. I mean, right now, Scott Townsend and Ty Brooks, they do a great job. Obviously, Scott's been around Florida basketball for a long time at Bradenton Christian for, 20 plus years. And so he knows everybody and he just loves basketball. If he's either in a gym or he's out on the water fishing on his boat. And so I always kind of give him a hard time. Like, he's doing one of the two, but he's got a lot of great connections, loves being out. And then Ty Brooks, young coach, was a manager at Florida Gulf Coast for 4 years. And he's been awesome to see him grow and just really buy into, I want to do what I need to do to grow in this profession. And I'm thankful I have a staff not only who's competent and knowledgeable, but they also are just, they're willing. They love to be out. And it's not like, some assistants, you're trying to push them and be like, dude, I need you to go recruit. I need you to go do this. And like, I don't have to do that a lot. Thankfully, they're very self-motivated, and, they're oftentimes the ones bringing me, hey, coach, we got to go to this event, or hey, coach, we got to take a look at this kid. And so they're very on top of it, very in the mix, and absolutely love having those guys on my staff.
So I did some diving into your team from the first couple of years, and we want to talk a little bit hoops as people are getting into their season and they're trying to figure out whether, if they haven't already done so, they're kind of figuring out the direction they're going. So from year one, which, by the way, don't hang your head on that year one. My year one in high school, I won one game. I opened up Leonard High School and I won one game. So 7, you blew me out of the water with that one. So great. Very good on that. So I get it, how hard it is, but your numbers grew. So you improved your scoring margin. Your defense didn't go anywhere. It stayed, where it was. So now you're in year 3. What are you focusing on, if you feel comfortable saying, what are you focusing on, this season? What are you trying to get better at?
Yeah, I mean, I think one common theme we've tried to improve and master over the first 2 years and really need to take into year 3 here is our consistency. We had some good talent last year with Charlie Yoder, Jordan Clark, Jack Scott. I mean, we're losing 52 points per game from those 3 guys alone. And so with that being said, we have a lot of good pieces returning. I think we brought in a pretty good recruiting class. They're not experienced. Like, they've been in our program for a few years, but they haven't had as much, game experience. And so I feel really good about our guys. I feel good about what we have. It's just a totally different feel to our team, right? Like, last year it was so easy to call a high ball screen for Jordan Clark, and he could break anybody down and make a play, or we give the ball to Charlie in a mismatch, and it's like, leads the nation in the NAI for scoring. Like, it was easy to kind of bail out of tough situations with those guys. And this year, I think we're really going to have to hone in and lock in on fundamentals and doing things the right way, and playing a deeper roster than we've been used to in the last few years. And so I'm excited for our team, though. We lost 6 one-possession games last year, one of those being to Florida College at our place. But it was, that consistency. It's so important for us to just find ways to fix 1 or 2 more possessions a game and hopefully turn some of those losses into wins this year. But love our group. They work hard, bring a lot of energy, and just have fun playing.
Jordan Clark, what a name. How old was Jordan when he finished?
He was 23.
Yeah, because I remember, like, man, Jordan was on my Nike Team Florida 16U team. And that kid was a bucket. Oh,
I know.
gosh.
He's a great kid, and we're definitely going to miss him this year.
Absolutely. Jordan's an amazing person. Coach, like, starting practice, you have a lot of guys, you're trying to replace, 50% of your scoring. Over at FC, we have 11 transfers. We have a new staff. We're figuring things out. And practice right now can get messy. How do you handle that? Because I know, I'm getting frustrated at times, and I'm like, man, we need to do this or that. How are you handling the messy?
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because we actually kind of met as a staff about that, and we've talked to our guys a little bit, because I was sitting in my office looking at like practice plans from last season, just trying to get a feel, like, where were we this time? Like, were we ahead? Are we behind? And in a lot of ways, we are behind this year. Like, it's just, we're not getting things implemented as fast. We're not picking up on things as quick. And so we're just sitting as a staff like, man, what do we have to do? Do we need to really break down more drills? Do we need to do more fundamentals? Or are we good to kind of keep doing this pace that we're trying to go at? And yeah, it's frustrating at times, but I think for me, just knowing, like, trying to learn my players, like, I have to always remind myself that just because I think these guys know stuff, or maybe they've been in our program for 2 years and we're, running certain offenses that maybe we've done, or, certain terminology that we've talked about, and they're struggling with it. And that can be really frustrating. Like, dude, you've been here. This is year 3. I need you to lead these new guys, but I can't assume that. And so just kind of really trying to break things down again, really trying to go back to teaching and explaining things, and obviously not trying to bore them or speak too long on stuff, but just really trying to be intentional with how I say things and make it obvious that, hey, we can't just assume they know it, but we gotta go over it again. And so every time I get frustrated, that's kind of the reminder I give myself, is just, it's not them. Like, this is where you need to step up as a coach and you need to go do your job. And so that's kind of where I've been, as we've been having some slower starts in our practices and not picking up on things as quickly as I thought.
I always get in that mode where when teams are mixed up, I'm like, man, if I just get to put the better guys together, it would look so much better. And I'd be I feel like I'm a good coach again if I could just put all the good ones together and let them just dominate. And then they don't dominate. Then they lose. Exactly. And you're like, man, I'm an idiot. Like, what am I doing? Maybe they aren't the best ones. And you just keep second guessing yourself. Did Charlie or Jordan go play anywhere? Did they have another year, or how'd that work?
Yeah, so Jordan graduated. He was he's just still in Sarasota, actually working at a bank now, doing a great job with that. Charlie had a year of Division I eligibility left, so he actually transferred to Abilene Christian, but had an injury that's going to sideline him for the season here. So unfortunate break for him, but he just got engaged, has a great future ahead of him with that. And then Jack Scott transferred to Rockhurst in St. Louis, Division II, for an MBA program that we didn't have at New College. So he graduated and wanted to go get his master's, and excited for his work up there.
So let's piggyback on that. We used to ask this question a lot, but we've kind of gone away from it because it's the new normal. How are you maneuvering the changing landscape, or what let's not say changing, it's changed. How are you managing like this landscape now as an NAI program, relatively new, not established for the most part?
I think, when it comes to retention, obviously everyone's always kind of looking to transfer. What's next? Where can I get paid, or what can I do higher level? But, again, when it comes to retention and trying to keep our group together, just relationships are so powerful. And we don't have a lot at New College, right? We rent a facility. We don't have 24 access to a gym. We're trying to scratch and claw for a few more minutes in the gym to get shots up. And that can be frustrating and discouraging for players. It is for coaches, so I know it is for players. But being able to just relate and, again, make things bigger than basketball, like really want to show these guys that I love you, I care for you, I want to see you grow as a man. And, hey, like, yeah, this is tough, but we're going to navigate it together. And I got to find different ways to make their experience enjoyable, right? Like, it's got to be a family. It's got to be something that they just enjoy being a part of. So those other things that maybe people transfer for, playing time, lack of facilities, level, like, no, we're gonna play our butts off. We're gonna try and perform at a high level, and we believe we can be really good at New College. But yeah, we're gonna overcome some adversity along the way, and let's buy into it. Like this, we started a program from scratch. We're doing something not a lot of people get the chance to do. So let's make it special. So I think that's kind of how I handle that from a retention standpoint. From a recruiting standpoint, obviously we all love transfers. Obviously, I saw it with Charlie Yoder last year, came in and was really good for our program. But I also think there's an opportunity for us at this level to go get some really good high school kids who are being overlooked, especially if D1s are starting to get kids from the G League. There might be a lot more players for us now, but there's so many good high school players that, in the past 5-6 years ago, when I'm at Stetson, some of these kids we're looking at, we would offer at Stetson, they're just getting passed up by these D1s now because everyone's trying to get in the portal. Everyone's trying to get older. Everyone's trying to get someone else's leftovers. And so I think we have to do a really good job as coaches to evaluate, to build relationships, to make sure these kids understand, like, you're good enough to play at this level. You're probably good enough to play at a higher level, but like, man, come be special here. Come flourish here. Come do something that a lot of people don't get the chance to do, and so just trying to kind of navigate it, seeing how it can best fit us, how we can, maybe play the game a little differently and adapt to it. But yeah, it's definitely always changing, and I don't know if there's a perfect way to go about it, but it's a crazy world out there in the recruiting world.
I think Coach Blackburn, we actually just talked about this a little bit a couple days ago, but like, even with a great high school player, like, I think we should always be in the conversation. Don't be afraid to talk to these guys, because his point is, hey, they may, in 2 years, they may come back down to us, or they may say, hey, those Florida college guys were good dudes. Maybe I need to give them a chance now. You know what I mean? So it's an interesting mindset or process, and it's I don't think we need to sell ourselves short. At the same time, we have our values, we have what we are as a school, and we should be who we are and sell that and try to get the best. It's just crazy times, because I think the high school kids are now, and I think the families are now realizing that maybe I need to go somewhere where they're actually communicating with me. Like they're really ready to go.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you made a great point. Like, you build those relationships. I've had it happen several times where kid goes and commits somewhere else and, plays at a higher level or sits the bench or just doesn't enjoy the culture and wants to be around people he enjoys. And I mean, it's happened several times at New College already. It's happened other places I've been, but where, you recruit a kid and 1 or 2 years later, it's like, hey, coach, I need to find a different spot. And I enjoyed our relationship, enjoyed connecting with you. You've kept in touch with me. I feel comfortable around you, and you end up getting them at your school. So the power of relationships and putting people as a priority, I think, in anything we do, not just recruiting, but just anything we do, it pays off. And it's the right thing to do, but it can really benefit us as well down the road if we do it the right way.
Coach, great answers, man. I'm loving this. Can you talk about leadership and how you develop leadership? Do you believe it's innate, or do you believe it's something that we should teach? How do you go about, developing leaders within your program?
Yeah, I think, we hear coaches all the time saying, step up, be a leader. Like, I need you to be a leader, dude. Like, we're always asking our players to do that, but rarely are we showing them how. Like, we don't give them the tools, we don't give them the resources. We're not intentional with our time in those development sessions. And so for us, we really do make it a priority. Sometimes we cut practice short. Sometimes we don't have practice at all if it is an important time for us to develop leadership in other areas. Because I'm a firm believer that how we do things off the court really translates on the court. And so I don't think as coaches we can be afraid to do that. And, I think I used to be this way when I started coaching, and I'm trying to gradually get better, but where it's basketball all the time. It's all X's and O's. Like, I got to outcoach them. I just got to push them harder. Like, sometimes you just have to help your people be better. Like, you got to give them the tools so they can lead. We always say a player-led team's better than a coach-led team, but how do we make those players know what leadership looks like? And so that intentionality is important. And I always tell our guys, there's the leader and there's a leader. And sometimes you're not the leader, right? Like, not everybody can be the head coach. Not everybody can be the best player. Not everybody can be the captain. So, like, you can't always be the leader, but your title doesn't matter. Every single person on our team, on our staff, is a leader. And we expect you to bring that leadership quality and do it the way that fits you. Some guys are vocal. Some guys like the rah-rah energy. Some guys just want to go work harder than you, and they want to show you that they're better. So I think as coaches, we have to lean into that and get to know our players and try and pull that leadership style out of them and just call them up to something greater. But it really comes with intentionality and a desire to make leadership something we actually help them learn to do, as opposed to just talking about it.
Yeah, that is very good. Intentional, because so many times, as you said, be a leader. We need a leader. Our team doesn't have any leaders.
Yeah,
We
what does
don't,
that mean?
there's no
And
such thing as a
I think the
leader
kids
anymore.
want to be, right? Like, I don't think anybody's out there trying to be a jerk or trying to act differently, but sometimes, just like, your kids, or you see, us in our own life, like, sometimes we just don't know what we don't know. And, like, I know there's a lot of things I wish I was good at, or I would love to be good at that, but if I'm not taught how, or I don't go through the process, like, I'm never going to get there. And so, again, it kind of goes with that, the frustrations in practice, right? We can't just assume that they know what that means to be a leader. They might have come from a broken home where their dad left them, and leadership just looks like being quiet, running away from something. Maybe it looks like throwing a tantrum. That's what they see leadership as. And so I think that's one of our most important jobs as a coach, is to say, no, here's what healthy leadership looks like. Here's how you can do it. Here's the tools. Here's the resources. Let's read this book. Let's go through these exercises. Let's give you this opportunity. And if we're intentional about it, it goes so far.
Coach, you mentioned about studying a book. Tell us about yours.
Yeah, I was excited to release my first book, Win 1-1, last month, and always been a dream of mine to write a book. Started several, but always had a hard time finishing them. And so this one really started to flow and had a story, but it kind of was sparked from a pregame speech I gave at Coastal Georgia, where we were talking about just winning every possession, or winning every play, one possession at a time. And something that all of us coaches have talked about. We've all heard that motto before, but I wrote on the board, win. And I said, we got to win every play. And then I wrote the word one, O-N-E, one possession at a time. And I kind of talked through those a little bit, but basically told our guys, if we do those two things, at the end of the day, we're going to come in this locker room and we'll have won. And I wrote the word W-O-N. And so for me, it was just kind of this framework that made sense. It encapsulated a lot of ideas as far as how we show up, the attitude, the energy that we come with, the habits we bring, just being able to do things the right way and overcoming adversity, moving on to the next play. So it was just this framework. It made sense to me, and was able to get it in story form, and God just kept giving me words. So yeah, I've been excited to see how it's impacted people across the country so far. I've gotten a lot of great feedback from coaches and players alike.
I
Is it a
love that.
fable?
Yeah, it is. It's a fable. So I started writing it as a nonfiction, just trying to kind of make it a leadership book, just make it a framework, and I just couldn't get it flowing. And I think the hard thing I had was when I started sharing some personal stories. It felt like I was being really vulnerable. And so when I made it a fable and I kind of was able to spread some of those stories out amongst different characters and, gave me a little bit more freedom to kind of just talk about stories in my life and not have to, give specific examples. It just gave some more freedom with that. So yeah, it's a leadership fable. If you've read anything John Gordon or Joshua Medcalf, guys like that, it's very similar to that style of book.
I love that. I can just see it. You're at Coastal Georgia. You look at the board. You're like, man, that is really good. Like,
Yeah.
I could
Yeah, it
just
was.
I could just see it. Like, man, I should do something with that.
I
Is that
know
how it
it.
happened? I mean, it was like,
Yeah, I mean, I had obviously, like you said, like coaches talk about this stuff all the time. It's nothing
yeah,
new. Everyone talks about doing it one play at a time, one at bat at a time, one possession at a time. But yeah, for some reason that win-1-1 framework just it kind of clicked and it resonated. And I was like, I've never heard it like that before. But it makes so much sense. And it just has so much clarity to me on how to organize this, how to make this a process oriented framework. And yeah, the hardest thing about it has been trying to explain to people how to, win 1-1. It can be kind of confusing, but that's everything else. So has been cool to see.
yeah. When I
I thought
read the title, I was lost. I'm like, man, I'm trying to wrap my head around it.
Mhm.
But then when you explained it, I was like, it's
Yeah.
perfect. Like
Yeah.
that was really good.
honestly,
For
that's
sure.
why I didn't say the title. It was hard for me
Yeah.
to say.
I
But
know, and
here's how I
hindsight, I probably should have put some more thought into the title, to give it more clarity to readers. But it's been cool. Again, it kind of gives you that avenue to share more, and it begs the question, like, what does that mean, or explain that to me. So it's opened a lot of cool doors to talk about leadership and share that with people.
I picture you're giving a fiery speech and you write when, win one possession, and you wrote win and then you wrote one at a time because there's no 10-point play or whatever, you're throwing all those words. You go out and you win the game. It's a crazy game. You come in and you write one right under the bottom
Yeah.
because you said we do. I just picture that as
Yeah, well, we left it on the
fire.
board. So when we came back in, we did win the game, thankfully, or maybe the book never would have happened, but it was our first Sun Conference win in program history on the road. We came back in and we had talked about before the game, like, we're going to come back in here and have won the game. We're going to, dump the water. We're going to have the celebration. And it was really cool to kind of see, because it doesn't happen all the time, right? Like we get this idea and we think, oh, wait, that was a great speech, or we said the right things. And then it's like, it doesn't pan out. But it just seemed like the stars aligned. We did what we were supposed to do. And we really did win every possession, every play, one thing at a time. And so coming in that locker room was fun, and it just felt like, man, this is special, and let's take it and run with it.
All right, Billy, you know what time it is. It's hot
Yeah.
question time.
That's
we're
pretty
supposed to
good.
have we're supposed to have some pyrotechnics as well. All right, Coach, you just kind of mentioned the Sun Conference, so I got some questions for you. All right, first one. You spent a couple years now. Toughest place to play. Toughest
Man,
place to play.
we've been on the road at Ave Maria twice. The first time we played there, it was like over a break. It was our first year, so we weren't very good, and they were in their old gym. They still had a good atmosphere, but nothing crazy. But this past year, that student section, man, like, they put them right on top of your bench. It gets loud in that new facility they have. And so Ave Maria has been a really hard place. Like, when their fans are rocking and rolling, fun place to play. And, Jamin does a great job down there. They have a great culture, great atmosphere. So that's been tough. But then the other place that has gotten us has been at Florida Memorial. They stick their band. They have an amazing band, and they put it right by your bench. They play loud every time out. You can't hear anything. Like, we're trying to do hand signals. We're trying to yell in people's ears, and they don't make it a tough atmosphere. They make it a tough atmosphere down there as well. And we haven't been able to get a win over there. So I'd say Flomo and Ave would be the two toughest places that I've experienced so far.
Love
Billy-
the pep band. Love the pep
Billy,
band. Go ahead, Joe.
before you go to the next one,
Yep.
my Florida Memorial story. I was playing at Weber, my freshman year. It's the only year I played. I was the backup point guard, little 6-foot guy that no one wasn't very quick, wasn't very good. But I go in, and they were playing a 2-3 zone. Well, shoot, that's my wheelhouse. So I'm standing right at the top of the key. The ball comes to me. I let it fly. Bang, hit the first one. We go down. And we're the kind of team, when I came in, we had to play zone, like defensively. When the other point guard's in, they're man-to-man up tempo. When I'm in, it's 2-3 zone, stay hidden. Next play down, ball goes reverse 2-3 zone, bang. In the end, I end up hitting 3 threes in a row. The career high, 9 points, Florida Memorial, year we won the conference tournament. So, hopefully you can overcome some of the pep band down there with some of the Coach Willis mojo.
Yeah, I might use that story. I might share that story before.
I'm sure. If you need a little more dramatic to it, let me know.
For sure.
I can let you know. All right, number 2, Billy.
Yes, sir. All right, next one. All right, best coach in the conference.
There's a lot of good coaches. Obviously, I referenced Jamin Copeland down at Ave. Just really, really great basketball mind. I think, me and him are very similar with the type of cultures we want. And I love watching his teams play. We take a lot of notes on how they play. Not necessarily their style, but just their demeanor and their mentality. But man, yeah, honestly, I could go on and on about every single coach. Hudson over at Southeastern, he's a young coach.
You're ducking the question. You got to pick one, man. You got it.
All right. Then I'm gonna go with my guy Jamin. I'll pick Jamin.
I love it.
I won't tell Chief.
I could go on and on. Chief, man, he's the coach of the year in the conference. Dude is a defensive savant. Man, it's impossible to score on those guys at Kaiser. And you talk about being a great recruiter, a great people person, someone who brings energy. Like I said, it's hard to pick one. You guys put me on the spot. Now I'm going to get in trouble. Going to have bulletin board material, but I think they're all great.
Coach, you're a golfer, right?
I like to play, yes.
Okay, all right. You're in Sarasota. It's probably, you can make an argument. It may be the golf capital of Florida. I mean, You can make that argument. All right. So what's your go-to course?
Man, so Sarasota, it frustrates me sometimes because so many of the courses here are private. And so it's really hard to get on them. I've been an FSGA member before. And so I've played in some qualifiers and tournaments, not because I have any business being in them, but it gives me an opportunity to go play on. I have a good enough handicap to get invited to those things. But Lakewood National has been probably my favorite that I've played down here. It's they have a Corn Ferry Tour event there. It's right by the neighborhood we live in, but Lakewood National has probably been my favorite that I've played, but it is tough to get onto. Esplande at Azaria is a public course right now, and that's probably been my favorite public course to play. And it's tough and beautiful out there. So
yeah, love both of those. University's got to be up there as well.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I love that. Lakewood National now, I think it's like $130 a round, which is it's insane. So
yeah. There's a lot of good courses here.
Did it used to be Lakewood Ranch? Did it change to a national course all of a sudden? Because played Lakewood Ranch.
There's Lakewood Ranch Country Club.
Okay.
There's Lakewood National. We got the Concession out here. We got the Ritz-Carlton. That's another good one. There's probably within I'd say a 5-mile radius of where I live, there's eight or 9 absolutely stunning courses, but most of them are impossible to get on unless you're not coaching college basketball and making a lot of money doing something else.
Yeah, and there's a hidden private gym one there. It's called Gator Creek. That's
I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, ask BJ Ivy the next time you see him. Ask him about that one.
For sure.
Is that all you got, Billy?
That's it. That was it. Oh, no, let's do one more. Because I asked this to Coach Blackburn. I feel like I need to ask this to you. Favorite verse or your go-to verse?
Yeah, I think it's Proverbs 16:9, which says the man tries to plan his steps, now you're putting me on the spot. I'm going to misquote a Bible verse. Everyone's going to think this is crazy, but man plans his way, but God establishes our steps. That's my summarization of it. But that's been a verse, in coaching. We want a lot of things to happen, whether it's winning, losing. Sometimes it's a new job or, we get fired, or there's just so many things that happen. And for me, it's like control. I like being able to have a plan and know what's going to happen next. But it's a great reminder for me that I can plan anything I want. I can try and do it myself. But at the end of the day, the Lord is going to be the one who establishes my steps. And so that's been my go-to verse for several years, and absolutely love the meaning behind it.
Love it.
Very good, Coach. Coach, it's been a lot of fun. We are really, really excited to share this with our listeners. I'm sure they're going to take a lot from it and be excited to connect with you about your book and your program. So thank you so much, and we look forward to continue our relationship with you.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. And Joe, thank you so much for, the events you put on around the state, and especially here Southwest Florida. And really excited for you with your opportunity to be at Florida College now, and we'll see you in a month and a half or so. Exciting. So appreciate you guys. Keep doing a great job, and look forward to talking again soon.